Okay, welcome to a new episode of Farm Like a Hero, folks. I'm Richard Perkins. Today I'm here with Claus Ilsoe of Ilsoe in Denmark. It's a 0.5 hectare microfarm started commercially last year in 2019, producing baby veg and microgreens primarily for Copenhagen chefs. They've been producing also small fowl and are not able to do that this year for reasons we'll hear about. So Claus, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, hi Richard, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, super welcome. Please tell us a bit about your journey into this. How did you end up doing what you're doing?
Well, I met my wife 17 years ago, and we sort of had, the same dreams and hopes for the future, and they included having a family, but they also included the dream of having a small country or a small farm in the country and being, well, at least somewhat self-sufficient. And for a lot of years, that was not what was actually going on. So I started to study, and she started to study, and in between that we had children. But I got a bachelor in social work in 2010, and actually worked with that full time until the end of 2014, when I became a leader or a chief or whatever it's called. Um, Still in the topic of social work. So I would have around 15 or 20 social workers referring directly to me, and it was it was an okay job, and it was still. But I think in the end of 2018, I was just getting more and more frustrated, because all of the values and all of the dreams and hopes that we actually had so many years ago, I was sort of getting to realize that we weren't actually doing that. We weren't teaching our children how to be self-sufficient in any way, and we were just sort of living that hamster wheel, up early in the morning, getting the kids ready to go to school or kindergarten or whatever, and going to work, rushing home to getting them into the car, getting home, making a dinner, and getting them into shower, and they were off to bed, and we were tired every night. So at some point, I just started to get more and more and more frustrated, because that wasn't the dreams and hopes that I had in any way for myself or for my family.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it started. And we still have a fairly small ground. So I was like, well, if I could do something completely different, something that I thought, okay, this would make sense for myself, this would make a lot of sense for my family, then what would it be? And I was sort of thinking about this for a long time. And then I thought, well, if I could, be self-sufficient, but also actually making a living of that would be fantastic. And I just started watching a lot of YouTube, Curtis Stone, Charles Dowling, and also this guy Richard Perkins. And I was intrigued. I was curious, because this was pretty cool, and they were actually doing what I thought. Well, if they can do it on the sort of land they have available, well, then can I. And that's how it started. Awesome. And in 2019, that's when it got to be okay. We were actually producing so much on a very small scale. I think last year we had about 250 square meters. That was it, but we produced a lot of vegetables in that small ground. And that's pretty much how it started. And since that, we're just sort of expanding and we're in the progress of expanding again now. So we don't have any sort of education in gardening or anything, but well, I use a lot of time just absorbing knowledge about what's going on and how can you do things.
Yeah. Is it essentially like, is it where you live, is it like the garden of your family house as opposed to an actual farm in sort of normal terms, as it were?
Yeah, well, it is our garden, and well, there are two very small fields, but it is the place that we live, and we bought this small farm around, well, probably around 15 years ago.
Okay.
And then,
and so you were sort of living in the place, and was that part of it? You were living there but working in your job and not using the space you had, and now you're...
Yeah, well, I think in all those years we were still growing vegetables, but I think the thing we were growing most was actually weeds, because there were zero energy and zero time to actually well, take care. You know, so it was just, well.
So you've got, have you, I can't remember the exact location, you've got proximity to Copenhagen? And
No. We actually, we live in southern of Denmark, not that far from the German border, actually.
Okay.
And I'm original from Aarhus, which is town in Denmark, and my wife is from in the north. And when we met, well, we were sort of, well, where can we afford to buy a farm that would also
Denmark
mean...
is pretty expensive, right? Certainly nearer the cities and...
Yeah, it is. Near the big cities, it's very expensive to buy houses. And if you would have, well, if you would have money to invest near big towns, it would probably still be a place that would need a lot of caring and a lot of money to actually get into a decent place.
Yeah. So, but you're selling product into Copenhagen, is that right?
No. But no, we are so lucky that where we live, we have some very fine restaurants. Probably because of that we live so close to Germany. So there's well, there's a big town called Flensborg in northern Germany, and between Denmark and Flensborg, there's sort of well, there's a water, and there's some restaurants placed near that water with well, a beautiful view, and some of the more expensive restaurants. Well, we have had the offer to sell to Copenhagen, but it's not
quite a long way.
Yeah, and we really would like to stay loyal to the things, you know, produce locally, sell locally.
Yeah.
Because there's a very fine line between well, between doing what we really think is the right way to go in terms of producing food, and doing something different. Because if we would start selling to things that were 250 kilometers away or more, then it would just it would end up being, well, not what we think is the right way to produce these things. So
sure. Yeah, I think maybe I had my wires crossed with because you're quite a long way away from there. But I saw on your feed it seems like you've gone a really nice way in creating. It looks like you're doing no dig, but you did like a turf removal and then put down compost. Is that right?
Yeah.
And how's that worked out? It looks like a smart way to go about it.
Yeah, well, I think it actually worked out pretty cool. I like to see what's in the earth beneath. So I thought, well, we're gonna remove all of those turf and get all of the rocks away, and then we just we got probably around 15 tons of compost that we bought, and all this out in the garden, and it wasn't even enough. So,
Okay.
but there's a lot of compost needed to grow that away. But
Yeah.
the soil is just incredible when you start to use compost in this, and you can see on the vegetables they also grow well. They grow better, but also faster, really.
Yeah. Is it been effective with like weed control, like by taking away that top sod layer? How's it been with weed management?
Yeah, it has been a lot easier because we had a lot of grass. I'm not quite sure what that specific species of grass is, but it has very long roots, and out of those roots, if you don't get it away, it will just keep on coming back and back. I mean,
Yes. That quick root. It has like
yeah,
sort of white, yeah, exactly.
yes, and we got away with all of that, and we also and we dug everything up by hand and sort of pulled it up and just doing that, and we actually have almost zero of the quick food down there. So it's been it's been hard work, but it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah. And it seems like you've sort of taken the Charles Dowding approach with just a good old layer of compost and then compost pathways. Sort of walk down in, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much how we do it.
Nice. And you also have, it looks like you've built your own tunnel space. I know you do microgreens, and is that for your starts as well? Was that right? Is that the home built tunnel you built?
Yeah. We have a home built tunnel. All of our microgreens we actually have inside in a room with LED lights.
Mm-hmm.
We built our own first greenhouse. We actually just bought another greenhouse, a tunnel from a Dutch company, I think. Is it called Roveo, something like that. It's a 115 square meters greenhouse, and we actually plan to have 2 of them, and then we plan to have 2 of the smaller greenhouse at 50 square meters each. So we will probably end up having 400 square meters of greenhouse.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Is that like growing for restaurants primarily? What's that look like in terms of your crop selection? Is it really focused in specifically on restaurants? So you're growing specifically for their needs? Like how do you run that side of things?
Well, I think this year probably 95% of our crops are for restaurants. But we actually started yesterday at a farmers market,
Mm-hmm.
which was great. I mean, and we are lucky that we have a Facebook today because it's just an incredible platform. So we just did we put it in Facebook that we plan to come there tomorrow, and there was a lot of customers. We were actually surprised because we it's from 8 o'clock until 1 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock we have no more vegetables. So that was and it's not necessarily good because people also expect that you have to have something there. But we actually brought a lot of carrots, a lot of beets, and tomatoes and so on. But organic is it's a popular thing.